The life you want begins the moment you decide you are no longer waiting for permission to live it. Take a breath with me, slowly, gently, just like that. I want you to pause for a moment, my dear, and notice where you are right now, not just physically, but emotionally. What have you been carrying lately? What quiet thoughts have been following you around, whispering things like, maybe later, maybe when everything is perfect, maybe when I'm ready? And let me ask you something, softly, honestly. How long have you been waiting? Waiting for the right time, waiting for clarity, waiting for a sign that tells you it's safe to finally choose yourself. I can feel it, that quiet ache inside you, that sense that there's more for you, more peace, more joy, more alignment, and yet something keeps holding you just at the edge of it, close enough to feel it, but not quite stepping into it. And I want you to know, there is nothing wrong with you. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not missing something that everyone else has figured out. No, my dear, you've simply been taught to hesitate. You've been conditioned to believe that life happens to you instead of through you. So you wait. You wait for approval. You wait for certainty. You wait until fear disappears. But what if I told you something very gently, something that might shift everything if you let it settle into your heart? The life you want doesn't begin when fear disappears. It begins when you make a decision in the presence of fear. Take another breath, because this is where everything starts to change, not outside of you, not in some distant future, but right here, in this quiet moment where you begin to see that the power you've been searching for has been within you all along. You see, we often imagine that designing our life is about big, dramatic changes. A new job, a new relationship, a sudden breakthrough. But the truth is, the life you want is not built in one giant leap. It is shaped by a single, sacred decision. A decision that whispers, not shouts. A decision that says, I am no longer abandoning myself. Can you feel the weight of that? Because so much of your exhaustion, so much of your confusion comes from the subtle ways you've been leaving yourself behind, saying yes when your heart says no, shrinking when your soul wants to expand, doubting when something inside you already knows. And I'm not saying this to blame you. No, sweetheart, I'm saying this to free you. Because once you see it, you can choose differently. And that's where your power lives. Not in controlling everything around you, but in choosing who you are within it. Let me share something with you in a way that you can feel, not just understand. Imagine your life as a garden. For a long time, you've been standing at the edge of it, waiting for it to bloom before you believe it's yours, waiting for flowers to appear before you water the soil, waiting for beauty before you commit to nurturing it. But life doesn't work that way. The garden begins the moment you decide to tend to it, even when it looks empty, even when nothing has sprouted yet, even when doubt creeps in and says, what if nothing grows? And this is the part most people miss. The decision to care for your life, to show up for yourself, to believe in something you cannot yet see. That is the moment the garden begins to change. Not instantly, not dramatically, but deeply. Because the moment you decide, you shift something invisible, your energy changes, your attention changes, your relationship with yourself changes, and slowly, quietly, life begins to respond. But here's where I want you to be very honest with yourself, my dear. What decision have you been avoiding? Is it the decision to trust yourself? The decision to let go of something that no longer feels aligned? The decision to stop settling? Or maybe the decision to finally believe that you are worthy of the life you keep imagining? Take a breath. Don't rush this. Because this isn't about forcing an answer. It's about allowing the truth to rise gently to the surface. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need certainty. All you need is willingness. Willingness to choose differently than you did yesterday. Willingness to respond to yourself with compassion instead of criticism. Willingness to take one small step toward the life that feels like you. And I know there's a part of you that's afraid. Afraid of making the wrong decision. Afraid of failing. Afraid of stepping into something unknown. That's okay. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is simply a signal that you are standing at the edge of growth. And instead of trying to eliminate that fear, what if you held it gently? What if you said, I see you, I understand you, but I am choosing anyway? Because here's the truth, no one tells you clearly enough. Confidence doesn't come before the decision. Confidence is created by the decision. Every time you choose yourself, even in the smallest way, you are building trust with your own soul. And that trust, that quiet, steady knowing, becomes the foundation of the life you want. So let's come back to this moment, right here, right now. Nothing dramatic, nothing overwhelming, just you, breathing, becoming aware. And I want you to ask yourself softly, if I truly believed I was allowed to design my life, what would I choose today? Not next year, not when everything is perfect, but today. Maybe it's choosing rest. Maybe it's choosing honesty. Maybe it's choosing to stop chasing something that drains you. Or maybe it's choosing to begin, even if you don't know exactly where it will lead. That's the sacred decision, my dear, not to control the outcome, but to honor the beginning. Because every life you admire, every version of yourself you dream about, it all started the same way, with someone just like you, sitting in a quiet moment, deciding, I am ready to live differently. And you don't have to announce it. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to rush it. You simply have to choose it again and again, gently, patiently, lovingly. Take another breath and feel into this truth. You are not waiting for your life to begin. Your life is waiting for your decision. And maybe, just maybe, that decision is closer than you think. The life you want begins to take shape the moment you become aware of the invisible patterns that have been quietly deciding for you. Take a slow breath with me again. Let it soften your shoulders. Let it slow your thoughts. Because now, my dear, we are going somewhere deeper. You see, it's one thing to say, I'm ready to choose differently. But it's another thing entirely to notice the subtle ways your old self keeps choosing for you without asking. Have you ever felt that? That quiet loop where you promise yourself things will change, and yet, somehow, you end up in the same emotional place again. The same doubts, the same hesitations, the same patterns that feel so familiar they almost seem like truth. But they are not truth. They are conditioning, and conditioning, sweetheart, can be rewritten. Let me explain this in a way you can feel. Imagine that your mind is like a well-worn path through a forest. Every thought you've repeated, every belief you've held, every emotion you've practiced has carved that path deeper and deeper over time. So when you try to step in a new direction, to think differently, to choose differently, it feels unnatural, uncomfortable, even wrong. Not because it is wrong, but because it is unfamiliar. And the mind, oh, the mind loves what is familiar. Even if what is familiar is limiting, even if what is familiar is painful. So when you say, I want a different life, but your internal patterns are still rooted in doubt, fear, or unworthiness, there's a quiet tension that forms. And that tension can feel like resistance, like something is holding you back. But it's not something outside of you. It's simply the old path, asking you to walk it again. Now here's where your power gently returns. You don't have to destroy the old path. You don't have to fight it. You simply have to stop walking it. And yes, I know, that sounds simple, but it is also deeply profound. Because every time you notice an old thought and choose not to follow it, you are stepping off that path. Every time you feel the urge to doubt yourself and instead you pause, breathe, and choose a softer thought, you are creating a new direction. And at first, that new path will feel faint, almost invisible. You might even question it. Is this working? Am I doing this right? That's okay. That's part of the process. Because you are not just changing your circumstances, you are changing your identity. And identity takes gentle repetition. Let me ask you something, my dear. Who have you been believing yourself to be? Not who you want to be, but who you've been consistently telling yourself you are. Maybe someone who struggles, someone who always has to work harder, someone who is overlooked or misunderstood or not quite enough. And if you've been carrying those quiet identities for a long time, they begin to feel like facts. But they are not facts, they are practice perceptions. And here's the shift, the one that changes everything. You are allowed to outgrow the identity that was built in survival. You are allowed to become someone new, not through force, but through awareness. Take a breath, because I want to guide you gently here. The next time you catch yourself thinking something limiting, something like, I can't do this, or this always happens to me, I don't want you to fight it. I don't want you to judge it. I want you to simply notice it, like you're watching a cloud pass in the sky. And then softly, without pressure, I want you to ask yourself, is this who I am? Or is this who I've been practiced at being? Feel the difference in that question, because it creates space. And in that space, you are no longer trapped inside the thought. You are observing it, and that, my dear, is the beginning of freedom. Now, let's go even deeper into something that many people overlook, your emotional state, not just your thoughts, but how you feel on a daily basis. Because your emotions, they are powerful. They are not just reactions. They are signals. They are patterns. And over time, they become your baseline. So if you've been living in quiet stress or subtle anxiety or underlying disappointment, even if nothing is wrong on the outside, your body becomes used to that emotional state. It becomes your normal. And from that place, your decisions, your reactions, your expectations all begin to align with that feeling. Do you see how important this is? Because if you are trying to create a life of peace, abundance, and joy, but your internal state is still rooted in tension, lack, or doubt, there is a mismatch. Not because you are doing something wrong, but because your system is still calibrated to the old experience. And this is where so many people get frustrated. They say, I'm trying, I'm thinking positively, I'm visualizing, but nothing is changing. And I understand that frustration. But here's the gentle truth. You don't create from what you want. You create from who you are being. And who you are being is felt emotionally. So instead of asking, how do I get what I want you to begin asking, what does it feel like to be the version of me who already has it? Not in a forced way, not in a pretend way, but in a curious, exploratory way. What would that version of you feel like when they wake up? How would they speak to themselves? How would they move through their day? Would they rush or would they breathe? Would they doubt or would they trust? Would they shrink or would they gently expand? And here's the key, my dear. You don't have to become that person all at once. You simply have to begin feeling into them moment by moment. Because the more you familiarize yourself with that emotional state, the more natural it becomes, and slowly, without force, your actions begin to align with it. Your decisions begin to reflect it, and your life begins to mirror it. Take a breath. Let this settle. You are not trying to fix yourself. You are not trying to become perfect. You are simply remembering who you are capable of being. And that begins with awareness. Awareness of your thoughts. Awareness of your patterns. Awareness of your emotions. Not to judge them, but to gently choose beyond them. So the next time you feel stuck or uncertain or overwhelmed, I don't want you to ask, why is this happening to me? Instead, I want you to pause, soften, and ask, what part of me is being invited to shift right now? Because every moment, every feeling, every experience is offering you a quiet doorway, a doorway into a new version of yourself. And you don't have to force that door open. You simply have to notice it and choose to step through gently, patiently, lovingly. And as you begin to do this, something beautiful starts to happen. You stop chasing your life, and you start becoming the version of you that naturally attracts it. The life you want begins to open itself to you the moment you feel safe enough to receive it. Take a slow, gentle breath with me. Let it move through your chest. Soften your body. Just for a moment, allow yourself to arrive here again. Because now, my dear, we are touching something very tender. Not your effort, not your plans, not even your vision, but your capacity to receive. And I want to ask you something, softly, honestly. What if the reason your life hasn't fully unfolded yet isn't because you are not doing enough, but because a part of you doesn't feel safe having it? Just sit with that for a moment, not as a judgment, but as a quiet possibility. Because so often, we believe we are ready for everything we desire. We say, I want the love, the peace, the abundance, the freedom. But beneath those words, there can be subtle fears that whisper, what if I lose it? What if I can't maintain it? What if I'm not enough to hold it? And these fears, they are not loud. They don't announce themselves clearly. They live quietly in your body, in your habits, in your hesitation. They show up as procrastination, as overthinking, as self-doubt at the very moment things begin to move forward. And it can feel confusing, can't it? To want something so deeply and yet somehow keep yourself just out of reach of it. But you are not broken, my dear. You are protecting yourself in the only way you've learned how, because at some point in your life, whether you remember it clearly or not, you experienced something that taught you it wasn't safe to fully open. Maybe it was disappointment. Maybe it was rejection. Maybe it was loss or instability or feeling unseen. And your system, in its quiet intelligence, made a decision. Let's not go all the way next time, just to be safe. So now, even when something beautiful begins to enter your life, there's a part of you that tightens, that hesitates, that pulls back just a little, not because you don't want it, but because you don't yet feel safe with it. Take a breath, because this is where your compassion matters most. Not more discipline, not more pressure, but more understanding. Instead of asking, why am I blocking this? I want you to gently ask, what am I afraid would happen if I truly had this? Let the answer come softly. Maybe you're afraid of being seen. Maybe you're afraid of being responsible for something bigger. Maybe you're afraid of change, even positive change, because it means leaving behind the familiar version of yourself. And that can feel like a kind of loss, even when it leads to something better. So, of course, there's resistance. Of course, there's hesitation. That makes sense. And the moment you allow that truth, without judgment, something inside you begins to soften, because now you're not fighting yourself anymore. You're listening. And that changes everything. Now, let me guide you gently into something very simple, but very powerful. The next time you feel yourself pulling back, doubting, hesitating, I don't want you to push through it aggressively. I want you to pause. Place your attention gently on your heart or your breath and say quietly within yourself, it's safe for me to receive. Just that. No force. No urgency. Just a soft invitation. It's safe for me to receive. And then take another breath and let your body respond. Because your body has been holding on to these patterns longer than your mind has been aware of them. And your body doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to safety, to gentleness, to repetition over time. So the more you speak to yourself this way, the more you reassure that deeper part of you, the more your system begins to relax. And as it relaxes, it opens. And as it opens, it allows. And this is where something beautiful begins to unfold, my dear. You stop trying to force your life into place, and you start allowing your life to meet you. Take a breath. Feel the difference between those two energies. Forcing is tight. It's urgent. It's rooted in fear that if you don't control everything, it won't happen. But allowing is soft. It's steady. It's rooted in trust. Trust that what is meant for you is not something you have to chase endlessly, but something you align with and receive. And this doesn't mean you stop taking action. No, sweetheart. You still move. You still choose. You still show up. But your energy shifts from pressure to presence, from fear to trust, from chasing to becoming. And when you begin to live this way, even in small moments, you start to notice subtle changes. You feel calmer, more grounded, less reactive, more open, and life responds to that. Opportunities begin to feel more natural. Decisions feel clearer. Connections feel more aligned. Not because the world suddenly changed overnight, but because you did. And that is the quiet miracle no one talks about enough. The external world often shifts as a reflection of your internal state. So when you feel safe, when you feel open, when you feel worthy, you begin to experience life through that lens. And suddenly, what once felt out of reach starts to feel possible. Take another breath, and let me offer you something you can carry with you gently throughout your days. A few soft affirmations, not as something to force, but as something to feel. You can repeat them quietly, in your own time, in your own rhythm. I am allowed to choose a different life. It is safe for me to receive what I desire. I trust myself to handle what comes. I no longer abandon myself for comfort or fear. I am becoming someone who welcomes what is meant for me. Just let those words settle. You don't have to believe them fully yet. You just have to be willing to sit with them. Because belief grows through repetition, through gentle exposure, through emotional familiarity, and over time, these words begin to feel less like hope and more like truth. Now, before we close this moment together, I want to bring you back, softly, to where we started. The life you want begins with a decision, but now you can feel it more clearly, can't you? It's not just a decision in your mind, it's a decision in your being, a decision to become aware, a decision to choose differently, a decision to feel safe receiving. And you don't have to get it perfect. You don't have to rush. You don't have to prove anything. You simply have to return again and again to this quiet place within you, where you can pause, breathe, and choose yourself just a little more each time. So as you move forward from here, I want you to carry this with you gently. You are not chasing your life. You are aligning with it. You are not waiting to become someone else. You are remembering who you already are beneath the fear, beneath the conditioning, beneath the waiting. And step by step, breath by breath, you are allowing that version of you to rise. Take one last slow breath with me and feel this. Your life is not on hold. It is unfolding in response to you. And the moment you decide, even softly, even quietly, I am ready, that is the moment everything begins to shift. Not all at once, but in ways that are real, lasting, and deeply yours. And I'll be right here with you in that becoming.